Well, hello and welcome to the Kitchen of the Dollhouse for another reading of The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost Elfers for July 19th, the day of controlled movement. And here we have us an image or an illustration of sorts of what I would guess is a spherical shaped potato with a nail tacked to the top and a rope wound from the outside down into the center, which is also tacked and wound. That's right. Enigmatic potato for the day of controlled movement. Hey, is it July 19th and it's your birthday today? Well, if it is, I just want to extend you a heartfelt happy birthday. But if this video finds you long or shortly after your birthday has already come and gone, I just hope you had a happy birthday. For everyone else who's joining us, I want to say hello and welcome and hope you enjoy yourself. Before we dive in, let's roll us some numbers. This is the Diecast birthday cast, so let's roll some dice. And why are we rolling some dice, maybe wondering? Well, for synchronicity's sake, and we rolled us a 6 and a 3. We got a 3 in the root, a 6 in the crown for you chakra folks. And what does all this mean, this number stuff? Well, it's for synchronicity. And what's synchronicity, you may be wondering? Well, it's just when things line up, when the universe shows us that it's there and it's watching out for us and it's putting things in our path even if we stray. You may throw things aside or feel like you're getting off track. Well, you just got to be open to the universe showing you the way through or adjusting course for you. Because you may want to change things in your life. Well, some would think and some would say that the universe will help you with that. And so the dice numbers are just a way to kind of open you up to it. Maybe you're just wanting to go fishing, say, and so you're heading on down to the bait shop, and what do you see here? Oh, well, it's a 6 and a 3 for a 9. Well, the address just so happens to be 369 on that old bait shop, so maybe that's exactly where you're supposed to be. Getting some worms to catch some old brook trout, perhaps. Who's to say? Just open up for you the possibility. It's fun, it's free, and it's a little bit interesting, something new and fresh. Any event, let's get on with the birthday read. Your month is July, your day the 19th. Your sign is 25 to 27 degrees Cancer of the Cancer-Leo cusp, the first day of the Cancer-Leo cusp. And your quality and element is Cardinal water. All right, let's dive in with the read. July 19th, the day of controlled movement. Recurrent themes in the lives of July 19th people are movement, grace, and form. Those born in this day are highly attuned to how they present themselves and often involved with mastering their body. Perhaps this preoccupation stems from their desire to channel and shape their emotions. Many born in this day are prone to mood swings, and sometimes resulting in passive-aggressive behavior. They're also likely to be unusually temperamental in adolescence, which may be especially trying and awkward for them and others. As they mature, however, July 19th people work actively and to cultivate their innate grace. They are not only conscious of how they carry themselves, but also of how they speak. In fact, the self-awareness that July 19th people demonstrate on a number of levels can be an exceptional quality. When they have made a mistake, they are quick to acknowledge it. And though they may not rush to apologize when they are unfair or unkind to someone, they will try to improve their attitude in the future. This capacity for improving on themselves generally does not go unnoticed with friends, family, and or mates who appreciate a July 19th person's efforts. But though July 19th people generally succeed at mastering their deportment and how they relate to others, they still may not be in firm control of their own emotional center. Stillness of mind and non-action are vitally important in this regard. And those born in this day who come to understand the value of non-action will enhance their active side and bolster their self-confidence. However, because July 19 people are self-critical by nature, non-action must not be confused with hesitancy or indecision. Rather, using the power of waiting to advantage, contemplating and acting at the right moment is what is meant here. For those born in this day, denial of immediate gratification is essential in developing strength of character, and at some point in their lives, they are likely to take on difficult experiences that teach them much in this regard. July 19th people should beware of having undue faith in others, or engaging in adulation and hero worship, which may ultimately rob them of their own self-worth and individual expression. It is vital that they cultivate and nurture their uniqueness, perhaps even by having the courage to strip themselves to the bone and build themselves up in a realistic fashion, brick by brick. July 19 people must also guard against perilous emotional encounters, as their unreality factor can be rather high where their perception of others is concerned. They are particularly prone to project their own emotions on those close to them, and this July 19th tendency toward excessive subjectivity must be shaped and refined, not merely suppressed, as efforts at control should aim to produce a joyful, playful, and vibrant personality, not repressed or habituated, rather. All right, hey, what did I have to say about this in the notes that I took down here? Well, I found this day to be most interesting. And why is that, you may say? Well, let's see here. The dynamics of this day, as I said, are quite interesting. At first, the recurrent theme of movement and grace, well, it made me think of an improvisational dance class I once dropped in on in college, and how ridiculous I thought it was. Then couple that with mention of a passive-aggressive nature and mood swings, I was like, oh geez, one of these free-form expressionist kinds of folks, right? But then I read the reading turns out that it turns it on its head. Okay, and it describes one of the most dramatic redemption arc stories I could probably think of. And it's a story of someone who pulls themselves up by their bootstraps and completely owns who they are and takes responsibility through self-examination and personal ownership. It's like a redemption story when there isn't necessarily anything to redeem, because you've already got it handled. And passive aggressiveness isn't really that big of a deal. It's just kind of a little bit of a character flaw, right? But hey, you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps and you figured it out. And it's a proactive story of self-improvement and accountability through self-discovery. You can't fault that. And I'd argue it's the exact kind of personal maintenance we'd all do well to be mindful of or try to rise to. And presented so simply and matter-of-factly, it's probably anything but easy to pull off. But if you have, it's an amazing accomplishment. So if that's a touchstone of free-form expression through body movement, I can get behind it. And I can put my biases aside. Because really, I was just probably feeling uncomfortable that those people were so comfortable in their own skin. So that's something for me to meditate on, right? And July 19th reading helped me do it. So let's move on to your numbers and your planets. Those born on the 19th of the month are ruled by the number 1. 1 plus 9 equals 10, and 1 plus 0 equals 1, if you didn't know. And by the sun. Because of the fact that July 19th people are born on the first day of the Cancer-Leo cusp, which is strongly influenced by both the moon, Cancer, and the sun, Leo, there are inevitable conflicts between the more extroverted sun and the number 1 influences and inward moon influences, and which the active sun influences usually predominate. And those ruled by the number 1 tend to be ambitious and dislike restraint. So here might be that enigmatic potato. You got your exterior, your extrovert sun there, and then you got your interior that it's tethered to, which would be your moon Cancer aspects there. What did I write for your numbers and your planets there? Let's see here. A conflict between the moon and the sun. You see, there wasn't really much mentioned here, so I had to dive into what the sun and the moon stuff actually meant. And it indicated a struggle between the male and female energies, also the outward drive versus the reflective nature. and the transmission of energy to others versus empathetic tendencies. So on its face, I can see how there might be a conflict in nature. But with everything previously mentioned in this book, someone who's self-reflective and trying to figure things out for themselves without necessarily bothering other people as they evolve, well, it's really quite the package of capabilities. And it's the perfect example of a philosophical dialectic. And for those of you who don't know, that's just your thesis and your antithesis meeting the two opposites, right? And they meet in the middle, and you form, so you got your thesis, which is your idea, and then your antithesis, which is like the person who argues against it. But you form a new idea by merging the two, complementing each other, solving the problems of each for the new solution. So the Leo Cancer cusp, the marrying of the two, the sun and the moon. I think you get it by now, right? Okay, let's move on to your tarot, the more eclectic of the metaphysical studies and practices. Some of you may think it's a little bit hogwash. Hey, I'm not necessarily against that idea, but I find it interesting, and so it's fun and free, and we're going to dive in. Okay, your tarot. The 19th card of the major arcana, the Sun, can be considered as the most favorable of all the major arcana cards. It symbolizes knowledge, vitality, and good fortune, and promises esteem and reward. The card posits the good qualities of clarity, harmony in relationship, and fine reputation. It does, however, also hold the bad possibilities of pride, vanity, and false appearance. Ooh, so you got the Sun card working for you, it would seem. All right, what did I write about that here? Again, we drill down on desirable qualities: knowledge, vitality, esteem, and harmony. But interestingly, the negative qualities of this card, as serious as they are, seem to be rather irrelevant, if everything else previously mentioned are innate practices of someone's life. Say, pride and vanity and false appearance don't really stand a chance against someone who practices mindfulness and who is critical upon themselves when it comes to self-reflection. All right, that's what I had to say. Let's move on to your health. All right. July 19 people should take special care of their arms and legs, particularly as far as inflammation and rheumatic conditions are concerned. They should make an effort to keep warm and dry in a cold and damp weather. Chronic, sometimes unexplainable pains in their chest, generally the breasts and the pericardial cavity, may be encountered and should be carefully diagnosed. Those born on this day should never neglect moderate physical exercise. Dance, yoga, running, and walking are recommended as daily activities. Psychologically, the ability of July 19 people to balance their active and passive tendencies and thus keep an even keel emotionally is paramount to good health. They must avoid raising their expectations to an unrealistic level. A well-balanced diet, including vitamins and mineral supplements, is necessary. If necessary, rather, is recommended. All right, what did I write for your health? I think this one I little drilled down on the fact that I don't know how they arrive at something so specific and unexplainable as, say, chest pains being specific to someone born on a certain day, as if the stars dictate as much. But hey, what do I know? I suppose it could be said of all that. It's always interesting to me that these practices are keen to dictate what diets and exercises are good for you based on your birthday as well. But assuming it's a verifiable science, all right, hey, be sure to keep warm and dry in those damp climates and take your vitamins and minerals. Flexibility is necessary for your improvisational dancers there. So be sure to stretch. It didn't say anything about stretching, did it? That's my advice. Okay, let's do some actual advice. All right. Though you must bring your emotions under control, never lose your spontaneity, and insist on freedom for yourself. Don't worry about appearing naive. Be more forthright. Beware of putting others on a pedestal or investing them with your own emotions. All right, very brief and to the point. Here's what I wrote about your advice. That's right. Keep minding your business And not in a negative nosing Nancy kind of sense, in the sense that you're minding your personal storefront is your innate nature, and that establishes you as a highly evolved and evolving individual. But you can't spend too much time helping others with their store without your own falling into a state of neglect. At least that's my take. So mind your business if you were thinking of your business being your own self-worth and evolving nature, say. If that wasn't clear from what I just read, which it probably wasn't. Anyhow, let's move on to your meditation. Most of what we need is close at hand. Ooh, I like that for this one. Why do I say that? Because it's such a nutshell kind of thing. It doesn't really necessarily mean anything, on its face in a nutshell. But for everything that we have previously gone over for you, it's perfect. Most of what we need is close at hand. And why do I say that? I say that because we talk about yourself pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and being critical and self-examinatory and evolving. And I would say you have everything you need within you right now. You got your tools, you got your materials. Now, your tools may not be sharp, and your materials might not be shaped to what they need to be if you're, say, getting that mortise and tenon going. But hey, you know how to sharpen those tools, and you know how to shape that material. And if you don't, you can go down to the hardware store and figure it out. The hardware store in this example being, say, talk therapy. Sharpen your tools, or anything else about the example as it applies to it. And that has been your meditation. All right, let's say we dive in with your strengths and your weaknesses. Your strengths, you're graceful, you're self-aware, and you're emotional. And your weaknesses, you're impatient, temperamental, and difficult. Ooh, there's some good ones and some, I don't know, not necessarily bad ones as far as I'm concerned. Temperamental, though, and difficult. Who's to say? In any event, let's move on to those born on this day. So we know what company July 19 people are in. And perhaps we can get a little bit more of a snapshot of the personality that they're kind of summarizing here. We have Herbert Marcuse, who is a Marxist philosopher and the New Left founder. He wrote Eros and Civilization. We have Etienne Marcel Ducrot, was a founder of the French Corporeal Mime School. There's improvisational dance there, and a teacher of Marcel Marceau and Jean-Louis Barrault. We have Tom McLaughlin, who was an actor and founder of the LA Mime Troupe. Freeform expression again. We have Edvard Degas, who was a French impressionist painter. It doesn't say whether he danced or not, but here nor there. We have Charles Mayo, who was a surgeon and co-founder of the Mayo Clinic. We have George S. McGovern, the presidential candidate in the U.S. Senator of South Dakota. We have Lizzie Borden, the suspected axe murderer. Now, she didn't do any self-reflection, apparently, because she dove in with her basic instincts. Alleged. All right, we have Samuel Colt, the firearms inventor and manufacturer. Natalia Besmertnova was a Russian ballet dancer. We have Ili Nasty Nastasi, I'm probably saying that wrong, but was a Romanian two-time world #1 ranked tennis champion and a U.S. French Open winner and the original bad boy of tennis. We have Pat Hingle, who was a film and stage actor. We have George Hamilton IV, country western singer. We have Ivio, was an Icelandic painter, film director, action artist. We have Vicky Carr, was a multilingual pop singer, woman of the year. And I keep saying was. They might all still be alive. I don't know. We have A.J. Cronin, a British novelist of The Citadel. We have Emmanuel Lee Roy Laudry, was a French historian and wrote Montelau, I'm supposing, and A Medieval Village. We have Jan Myrdal, a writer of The Silk Road. We have George II, Greek king, and Jodie Brady, child actress. Gilbert Sheldon, a 17th century Archbishop of Canterbury and a rector of the Sheldon Theatre at Oxford. And this has been July 19th, the day of controlled movement. from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost. I know I've been all over the place today, but if you're interested in picking you up a copy of this book, well, I've got an affiliate link down in the description. It helps support the channel if you shop through it or pick this book up, and I'm sure Gary Goldschneider and Joost wouldn't mind you buying a copy. It makes a great coffee table book. If you got company, you just break this out and break the ice, and you're going to get the conversation started for good or for bad. In your case, I would say it's good, but that's my take. It's not my birthday. In any event, if it was your birthday today, once again, I just want to say happy birthday. I hope you enjoyed yourself and you took something from it. At least you got some daily numbers there. You got your 6 and a 3, 4 and 9. And this applies to the folks that dropped in randomly too, because the intention is there for you to find your path and get on it and just get a little bit of hints that you're doing the right thing in your life, and that the universe is going to be there for you. At least that's my read on it. That's what I like to think. Whether you do or not, that's here nor there. You got to go with what your instincts tell you, right? Don't be afraid to be naive, right? And that applies for me as much as for you. And most of this stuff that I drilled down on today was just to help remind myself that I need to do so as well. So don't take it as me preaching. Take it as me telling myself, doing some self-examination and being self-critical. In any event, I'm going long in the breath here, and so I just want to say once again, happy birthday. And for everyone else who joined us today, I hope to see you on your birthday read. Take care of yourselves, and mind you, that enigmatic potato. All right, take care.